ئەمڕۆ مێشکێکی زۆر سافم هەیە و هەوایەکی زۆر سافم هەیە.
الثلج هواء نقي عقل نقي.
Hello, my name's Nell Hardy and I'm the founder of Responsibility Theatre. I was also the theatre practitioner behind this process. So Responsibility Theatre is really invested in putting survivors of different kinds of trauma in the driving seat about how stories like theirs are told and the lessons that get learned from them. And we really, really fervently believe that the best theatre comes when the process of making it has had an immediate positive impact on the lives of the people that the play is representing. And once you know that that is in place, you can be really uncompromising in how you're presenting the problems that still exist in the world for those people and people like them, because the whole framework of it, you've got the hope and you've got the possibility of improvement for those people's lives already ingrained in how you're making it, right? And so, no truth is too heavy, because all truths can be changed.
I would like my house is big, consistent of 3 rooms and big kitchen, big bathroom, and a big garden.
The same kind of goes for research, right? Because the best research cannot come from some researchers deciding what questions they're going to ask and then spending a couple of hours with a group of people and then going off and doing their own thing with it. The best research happens when the people whose lives are kind of impacted by the topics that are being researched, when they're in from the very beginning of the process, deciding what questions need to be asked, informing about how to ask those questions in a way that is going to be really fruitful and create the conditions in which people can respond to them best.
Our project is funded by NIHR ARC North Thames and is looking to co-design a culturally sensitive parenting support program for refugee and asylum-seeking families who are raising children under 5 in resource-limited settings like the temporary accommodation. The project lead is Professor Lakhanpaul of UCL, and I am a co-lead, Professor Svirydzenka at De Montfort University, Leicester.
Building trust, building relationships and building connections is core to the work we do. However, we are also aware that we often do ask people about their personal lived experiences and stories, despite really traumatic journeys they may have been on. We worked together, the PSP REFUGEE project, Nell Hardy from Responsibility Theatre and the Lifelines project, to find a way to give the mothers that we're working with not only a safe place to share their thoughts with us, but also a bit of ownership over what they wanted to say with us, and ownership of the place they did this, the time they did this, and how they did this.
And so kind of going along to someone and saying, so what's rubbish about your life and what do you need? People will struggle with that question, partly because you might have just forgotten what you actually need. You might be so disconnected now from your needs that you think, well, I'm fine. Yeah, everything is fine. And then actually getting out of that mind frame to think, well, actually, I do need this and I do need that and I do need the other. When you're not in a position then to give those people those things immediately, that means that they then have to live with that awareness in their day-to-day lives, and that's really difficult. Or it might be that the person asking that question is an authority figure, and there can often be quite a strong feeling of, oh, well, they think that I'm asking for too much, and of kind of fear of being told, well, you can't have that, which is something that a lot of us have experienced when we have managed to express our needs.
The UK is supporting increasing numbers of refugee and asylum-seeking families, and these families are predominantly placed in temporary accommodation, which our research shows is inadequate in supporting health and developmental needs of young children. It is therefore crucial that we address the health needs of these children in ways that recognise their cultural heritage and a sense of identity.
To live with my children together in the house.
Obviously, involvement of the group was really, really, really crucial here because we didn't want to make assumptions about what parenting support people wanted and needed and what hopes or aspirations they had for their children. But we also might not have the same language and that same rapport of what childhood is and what those early years mean.
And it is therefore not surprising that theatre was selected as an integral approach within our trauma-informed research for this project. From psychological research, we know about the power of storytelling, and it's not only about transmitting knowledge and building a connection with the audience, but it has a therapeutic element in its own right. Through storytelling, people can rebuild their memories, they can validate their experiences, they can build connections, they can build resilience, and it has the power to guide future actions and decision making. What is more, the theatrical process is collective. It offers a shared sense of identity. It's so often compromised during the process of migration or the process of acculturation in building a home in a new culture. And it is this sense of connection that is so crucial for the young children and their developing minds, for them understanding who they are and who they can become.
Through a series of workshops using music and movement, they were able to slowly express themselves in the way that they controlled.
So after that beginning process, we'd built that trust. The researcher who was interviewing them was in those workshops with us, participating with us. And so that kind of created a setting in which there was familiarity, there was comfort, there was already this language built of being able to talk about ideal futures without it necessarily having to mean that they can't possibly survive in what they have right now, and that was disconnected to this idea of deserving or of possibility or any of those really complicated things that can prevent people from saying it like it is and finding hopeful ways of communicating what they want and need.
In my role as welfare lead for the Refugee Women's Project, I've witnessed firsthand the importance of culturally sensitive, trauma-informed. Having a background in both therapy and theatre arts has been essential in shaping my approach to understanding and supporting others. As a South Asian woman and a Muslim woman, cultural sensitivity is part of my work. I understand the nuances of identity, tradition, and belonging. This perspective allows me to bridge gaps, fostering understanding and uplift voices that are often unheard.
After the interviews, that's often when trauma kind of catches up with you, I think. So we needed to reinforce that community. We needed to get them together a little while after the project and the interviews. And we needed to reinforce everything they'd learned about themselves and their capabilities for expressing themselves and making themselves heard and enjoying that process and being able to do it with other people like them.
My way of seeing people like me, literally the same religion, let's say, same culture, most of them, all of the woman that was there in the room. I've seen all of them mostly was unlikely to come and talk, and that there's no trust in the beginning. It's not because they don't trust, because they just want to get comfortable somehow. And it was amazing to see that happening quick.
We went back to the kind of ideal landscapes and worlds that they had created before, and we rehearsed how to create them with our bodies. We rehearsed how to transition from one to the other. At the beginning of the process, in fact, the majority of the women said that they didn't want to perform. And something that we brought in that they were very keen on as well was masks that then gave them the permission to do whatever they wanted to with their bodies and to be part of any world that they wanted to be without it compromising their anonymity for one thing, but also being too exposed. And then all bar one of the women wanted to perform by the end of it. And absolutely all of them involved themselves in the rehearsal process. And we heard more colour coming into their voices, and we found mischief as well in how they spoke about these things. And there was just real joy at thinking about those possibilities. And I think that the fact that they've been involved in the research projects and kind of informed what questions were going to be asked, and they knew that they were going to be informing how their answers were going to be interpreted. They're part of the team, right? They have a realistic expectation of what research involves and the timescale that it can take for change to be made. All of these things start coming together, and nothing is being hidden at all.
This led to a wonderful, wonderful final performance where they co-created the drawings, the paintings, and actually the performance itself. It was so emotional to see the mothers that we had been working with really in front of us with so much self-esteem and so much confidence, sharing stories that they had shared with us through a medium of theatre.
My name is Maureen and I'm one of the managers at Happy Baby Community. I had the privilege to go and see the performance, Wash My Mind, Heal My Heart, and honestly I was so moved. I was so proud of our Happy Baby mums. It was amazing to see how talented they are, how passionate, and also how beautifully they worked together.
And the transformation in the women was just extraordinary. I mean, in the first session we ever had with them, we'd have to kind of offer a task at least twice before anyone acted at all on it, even if it was just stand up or sit down or anything like that. That the amount of permission we needed to give for these mothers to feel like they could do anything was huge. By the second to last session, I had no control over what was going on in that room anymore. They had decided what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do it. They were ordering me around. It was absolute joy. And they just, in the performance, they completely took it on themselves and just ran with it and had such confidence and energy and life, which again, for women who were living such exhausting lives, was just, it was just such an honour to see, such an honour to see. And we had researchers in the room, and we had people who run the community charity that supports them in the space, and being able to see that kind of possibility and that life and that potential and that hope, I think really boosts the people on the other side as well.
And what touched me even more is that these moms, some of them, they have never met each other before this project because they come to different Happy Baby groups, but through this experience, they started to connect. They started to trust each other and open up, and they started to share their stories with each other, and it was really powerful to see those bonds forming. It reminded me why we do things we do, because when women feel supported and safe, incredible things start to happen. I want to thank everyone who was involved in this project. Thank you from all of us at Happy Baby Community.
And being able to see people just taking charge of their stories like that is so important.